can you think of companies who've done this well over a period of time? Because we hear stories that this company was great, and then maybe 5 years later, there's another sort of a wave of reputation that's going on with that company, for a variety of reasons. But then there are some companies who consistently say, that everybody wants to work for that company, right? So what do they do, right? How do you sustain it?
Right. So, it's not about only productivity and making sure that people put in those number of hours, and basically, you suck all the creative juices out of them, and because you get paid, you better deliver, and I think that approach doesn't work any longer. I was giving an example of Google,
Sure.
and I think
Yeah.
I'm enchanted. I appreciate the fact that you can actually spend time, 20% of your time just blue sky thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, and nobody asks you a question that what is your productivity, what did you do, what is the output, or whatever. Okay, when you are, I think when you have that mind space and the freedom to think and do, that's where creativity flows in. That's where you are able to do, and be, and create so much more than if you are just in a rut day in and day out.
Right.
And I think some of their greatest inventions and some of the greatest products that Google has brought out are as a result of somebody sitting in a lawn or a park, and just looking at gazing at the sky or some of that. We may call it a waste of time. It's foolish, and I can appreciate that not everybody understands or can relate to that. And I'm not also professing that the rest of the organizations need to do that.
Right.
Everybody's business model is very different. Okay. For example, while I'm, like I said, I'm enchanted, but I've never even either presented such an idea, or I have never introduced such an idea in any of the organizations that I work for.
Right.
The Indian ecosystem is very different.
Yeah.
uh, our mindset is very different, our corporate
Right.
cultures are very different, so it doesn't work here. Okay. So I think to each their own. It works for Google, it may not work for anyone else.
Right.
But some of the things where, for example, when you're bringing in this generation, and since they're so conscious about ESG, CSR, and so on, in my experience with Deutsche Bank, we actually used to there used to be a day in a month where we would go to slums
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
actually spend time teaching children, cleaning up houses, and doing that kind of stuff. Okay. And we would split into teams. This generation was part of this effort, and this became a USP. All right.
Hmm.
So you call it CSR, you call it helping people, whatever, you call it community outreach, whatever name you might get it. But I think the fact that you are engaging with people just beyond your work setup, and you are able to bring smiles on people's faces when they see you, okay, I think means a lot. There's a lot of joy and contentment that I see, and this is feedback from uh, not only exit interviews but stay interviews. All right,
Hmm.
where do you
Hmm.
get all
Hmm.
this data from? This is real time data that I'm sharing
Hmm.
with as a result of stay interviews that we did with employees of this generation, and said, what is it that's keeping you with the organization? So nobody
Hmm.
said great pay, great boss, all that
Hmm.
is a given.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
said, we appreciate that we are volunteering and doing this community outreach, and we are able to help people across different cities in the country.
Right.
So things like this, I think, make a difference. This is one example that I'm talking about. Another organization, these were basically agricultural scientists, all
Hmm.
right, and we had to hire about I think 200 agricultural scientists in 6 months now,
Hmm.
and in all parts of the country.
Hmm.
Okay, hiring them I think was not as difficult, uh, but retaining them was hard. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, and what helped us was engaging with the farming community.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
uh, and ours is an agricultural economy.
Hmm.
All right, so when you are engaging directly with the farmers and the farming community, and you have no middlemen, I think that's the best thing that you can do as far as enhancing enhancing business. I would say happens automatically, but I think the fact that it creates an anchor for these people in the organization. And I think as long as I was part of that organization, there was almost 95% retention of those people, at least for the next 8 to 10 years.
Wow. Fabulous.
This is data. This is what happened, and people saw that they were contributing, to this community, which is actually helping in nation building. So
Right.
it's not about looking at business only, but it's looking at a larger cause of nation
Society.
building. So
Right.
I think the amount of pride that then the employees start to have, because they see that they are part, they can see the bigger picture.
Right.
They are not a cog in the wheel, but they are contributing to a larger cause.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think
That's a
some of these examples are real life, which I have experienced.